Greetings, everybody. Anybody who might actually be here. I am working on Shroud today. I'm going to do a short stream, probably an hour, maybe a little bit more. And I'm actually still working on yesterday, so it is still Tuesday for me. Getting my last little bit here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do some stuff. First thing I'm going to do actually is a little bit of book work, adding the Stone Dragon into the game. This is technically a four-part series. There's a prequel, maybe, possibly, and then the Stone Dragon book one, two, and three that are going to be going into the game. Right now, I have book one and book two from the author, Lilybird, and got everything sorted out for the first book, and the second book is pretty much done, leading up to um, the last chapter. So I have to add the last chapter in, which is split up into three parts. So it'll be three separate books in the game. And I just need to see. Yeah, thanks for the follow, Party One. Very good. Hey, Lily. How's it going? Okay, so what I've done off on the side is I got the three text files set up here in a folder, so I could pull those in, and I guess I will do that first. So there's three parts to putting a book in the game. The first part is getting the text files in there, and I'm not in the right spot. So let me do this, there, and there's the text. And I made a subfolder for the Stone Dragon since it's going to have a lot of stuff. Group it all together. And what I'm going to do is just drag the three of them in. And then Unity takes its sweet time to recognize what's going on, updates its database, and gets them in there. So they're now in the list. Then I need to make prefabs for them. The prefabs are used so that way they can be placed in the world as decorations and on player lots and such. So let me get this going. Oh, I usually cheat for this too, so what I'll do is I'll usually open up one of the, why is that not coming up? There it goes. That way I get to where all the prefabs are. Instead of searching down the tree, prefabs and props and stuff. So this is where all the prefabs are. Now the way prefabs are done is that this is an empty scene, and I just drag one of the prefabs that's already there up into the scene, and I will duplicate it. And this is going to be 11A. And I could duplicate it again. Billy Bones, thank you very much for the follow there. And 11C. Oop, no, I had delete, not duplicate. Oh, I think I could do Control Z. Nope. All right, so I'll do that again. Duplicate and duplicate. Now I'm doing these in bulk. I don't usually like to because that's what leads to bugs. Um, so now I only used the 10B one that I dragged in here as a template. So I'm deleting it out of the scene. Doesn't delete the file or anything, just takes it out of my temporary list up here. Now I have A, B, and C sitting here, but they're not configured. In fact, if I open them up and look, there's a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't need to be changed. But it's referencing 10B. So in the list here. So I have to create 11A, B, and C for the assets, and then I'll be able to associate the whole thing. So it's a little bit of a chicken or the egg thing. So you could go and create the assets first, and then go create the prefabs, or create the prefabs and then create the assets. But then the assets and the prefabs have to be linked together. So it's a little bit of a pain in the neck, actually. Um, and the prefab the assets I can't copy or duplicate or anything, so I just make them new. So we're gonna make a new book. Yep. All right, new book. Stone Dragon Book 2, chapter, chapter. uh, oh, I see what I did wrong. Right, 02. I like to put leading zeros. It helps the sorting. Um, because Windows and a lot of programs have this little bug where it'll sort all the ones together with 11s and things like that. So I use leading zeros. So we're chapter 11A, and thanks for the follow. I missed the names, but Sean Butts, and I think there was another person in there as well. Maybe Black and Sash. And Vesper Soda, sorta. Thanks for the follow. And there's Black and Sash. All right, cool. Um, okay, so here I have to do a bunch of stuff. This is actually where the a lot of the bugs will come in. If these this is like detail-oriented crap. Okay, so first thing is I got to do the display name that you guys will see in the game, and what I do here is I yet again cheat. And I'll have to check this out to edit. Hey, Falconut, thank you for the ad, for the follow. Copy. All right, now I have, the right format. This lessens the risk of me making it a typo, and I can put that in. And this is going to be part 1 of chapter 11, and it is book 2 because I took it from book 2. So that takes care of the display name. Now I go down the list and there's a bunch of stuff I have to change. So these books are going to be, because these are world item books, and of course, players will be able to take them, put them in their inventory, and place them in their lots as deco and such and so on. We're not applying any weight to them or prices or anything like that, so they can't be sold to vendors and things. That way they can't be farmed. Um, they'll be stackable and they'll be world items. So you'll be able to find these in the world. They'll be randomly strewn about in Erie and Brittany Central and so on and so forth, all the different towns. Then we go down a little bit further. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that doesn't change, but we do need to change it from a raw material, which is just the default setting, to a book. So that way it knows that it's going to be bringing up a book and how to read the book and all that stuff. It's applying those scripts. And let's see here, make sure I don't skip over anything myself as I go down. There is another thing that I'm missing, I think. Yes, the icon. So The icon, this is off screen, but there's a lookup, and the icon is now selected as the three principles. And what this is this is the book with the three interlocking circles for uh, the thing. Sorry. Again, been up over 24 hours, so um, this could be very entertaining. All right, so we have the icon and all this stuff up here. Now we move down to the crafting settings, and this book, because it was created by a player, we're allowing it to be copied at a printing press. And this should work. If it doesn't work, actually, it might not work because we have some other stuff that blocks that for world item books. But of course, Lily will have the ability to print updated versions. I think that's actually what our plan is. So I might actually have to go in here and change these all to none. I'll have to touch base with Lily later on that. So, yeah, and she's even saying you get a whole set when you do each quest, and she'll have copies that will actually have a like a title page to it. The books that I'm making don't have the actual full credits and the NBBN numbers and all that neat stuff. So, but right now I have these set up for this, and I said I'll talk to Lily offline about that later and make sure that we have that set up. We have to test these on QA yet to make sure that everything's all set up right, which they should be on QA today. Um, they're not physically in the game because I have to go and put them someplace, but they should be available on QA to play around with. So Lily, when you get back later on, let me know, and as long as I'm still up and breathing, then we could get on there and do something with that. Yep, sure, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean the whenever QA patches next, I think there was a build running this morning, so I would say somewhere between now and 5 p.m. there should be a patch for QA. Um, okay, so said crafting printing, and then the next area, which is this is the most interesting one. And when you guys ask for things to be placeable on POT land and stuff like that. This is where we go for this. So there's a couple of things, and since I was talking about the prefabs before, um, I could actually go here and select the prefab. Now again, this is coming up off screen. Let's type in Stone Dragon because all my prefabs are named that way. But I haven't created them yet. So if I look at my list, see it only goes up to 10B. So what I need to do now is I need to take each one of these individually and add them into the into the prefab list, which means I need to go where there is one so I could cheat and go back to the prefabs. And now each one has to be dragged in here. And well, actually, no, can't drag it in there. I have to go back here and drag it onto the folder. This Unity's got its quirks. If I try to drag it in amongst these here, it doesn't allow me to just get in there. You're like when in Windows or something, you could go over all the way over here and it'll just say add to the folder. But in this case, it'll always ask me if I'm trying to overwrite the existing one. So I have to go back to the previous folder and drop it on the folder. And then it'll ask me if I want to do a variant on the prefab or original. And my understanding is that if it's a variant, then it will be linked to whatever I copied it from. Which means if the original changes, then this one will change, which would be a very bad thing. So we're going to make an original so that way it stands on its own. And of course, it thinks I want to go there, but I don't. So I have to go back to the props folder again, go to books, and that's a good question. Let me try. I don't think so, but let me try that. Yeah, see, no, it won't let me. It's archaic. And go to books again, original prefab, And then the third one, well, of course I have to remember to go back again and create the original prefab again. And there. Now I have all three of those prefabs. They got a red plus, meaning they're being added to the database. These three are not needed anymore, so I could actually delete all three of them. That way I don't mistakenly save something in this scene that's not supposed to be there. And now we have our prefabs. So we go back to the asset list. Stone Dragon. Again, go into the folder. Now we have all the assets, and this is the one I was messing with, which I'm going to actually uncheck out, revert unchanged because I didn't change anything. And then now it's safe. It won't get edited or anything. And here's one that we added, 11A. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. We have three different items to change left in this. One is the prefab. We're going to associate the prefab. So I'll go ahead and do that. And now off screen, Dragon, it now gives me the list with the three, there we go, with the three ones I just dragged in. So I could add 11A. And what I always do, because I'm paranoid, is I check what I've highlighted down here is chapter 2, 11A, book 2, chapter 11A, and that it matches book 2, chapter 11A. So this is obviously organizational, make your names match as much as you can. That way there's less confusion, less risk of having a bug. Now, there's still one more thing to do in the prefab, but not going to do that until very last. So the next thing is to do the decoration modifiers, and this is what I was talking about a second ago. So a book can go on a floor. It can go as a display item, which that means it's player placeable. It could go onto an exterior floor, go on the ground. Oh, exterior floor, by the way, is things like dungeons and basements, things along those lines. Uh, then it has an additional rotate axis, which is that allows you to play books by default will stand up. The additional rotate axis allows you to use the R key by default to make it lay down. And then we go down to bottom floor. So that's like the bottom floor of a basement or bottom floor of the house. Those are special. And exterior bottom floor, that's the basement or the dungeon. So now what I do again is I go back and I count these up. There should be seven. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got seven and they're the right ones. So we are good. This is a horrible menu, and this is where some of the bugs come in. Like recently, we had oh, what was it? I want to call it a cabana for some reason, but one of those the small fancy uh, um, thing that you put in your backyard. Uh, yeah, don't mind me, whatever. But one of those things wasn't placeable anywhere. And here's what happens is that notice that when I click on that, it's already highlighting everything. If I stutter on my mouse click or Unity stutters, which Unity does, then it will actually click everything, and then all of a sudden it'll do that. And if I clicked everything on this, it will break the build. When I submit the asset, if I didn't notice it, it would submit the asset, and when it goes and processes the file into the database, it will actually just crash the whole thing and reject it, and then it would have to be fixed. However, depending on where I have Unity on my screen, or even this, as I scroll it down here to the bottom, wrong one. Um, if I click on mixed here, now I'm over on validate surface. That actually is exactly what caused that gazebo, I think that's the right name, right? The small fancy gazebo to stop working. is when it was last edited, somebody had actually just happened to be hovering over the validate surface, and either they double clicked by mistake or Unity stuttered and gave us that. So this is one of the things about Unity I really detest, and it needs to be fixed. So there's stuff I think we could do to tweak that, and I've been talking to Devocult about hopefully changing this editor menu to stop that from happening. So anyway, that takes care of the decoration modifiers. And one last time, because I've been messing around here, I want to make sure I'm still got the right 7, and I do, so I'm good there. And then the we got the prefab set, and it's the right one. The last thing that needs to be set is assigning the text to the uh, asset. Again, it's off screen, and all I have to do is type in Stone Dragon because I have all my naming the same, and the text files are not showing up. Why is that? I may not have actually. See, this is part of being sleepy. Yeah, I didn't rename them. They need to be renamed. So do more cheating. And it'll dynamically update it. Even if I had associated it with assets or anything, it'll dynamically update it and fix it all. Yeah, Unreal Engine, that would be a pretty cool thing to do, actually. It also would be a lot of work. And sorry if there's delay um, from me noticing the chat information and chat stuff and talking. So oh, you can't see the menu. Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay. Um, Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, you can't see the menu because Unity again has these quirky things of the way they draw on the screen. And since I'm sharing a window, not sharing my entire monitor, you're not going to get to see the pop-up stuff. So sorry about that. Thanks, Allie. Okay, so now I got my text files named correctly. Now I could go back to my asset once again. Oh, yeah, I want to go into this folder and then now go back to 11A, go all the way to the bottom and go to the source text off screen, dragon. Okay. And there, now I have the correct text source associated with the asset. See, and I just clicked on something that shouldn't have been clicked. So there you go. Now I could go back to the prefab, and just by clicking on the prefab name here, it brings it up in the list. And I need to click on this here, then open it. That gives me that submenu thing. Scroll down to the bottom, and then click on this to bring me to the right area where all the stuff is. And because I just added this, I know it's the last one in the list. So I just drag it in and overwrite what's there. And that's it. We now have a book. So I've saved my work and move on to the next one. So I got to do that 2 more times, and I won't waste time doing that now. You said that would just be boring and lots of repetition. But so that's how you build a book in Shroud of the Avatar. Um, and I'm hoping to add more books into the game. The hope originally was to get a ton of books in there. Of course, player content was one of the key things. And uh, some qualifying books will be able to get into the game in that route, but I'm also going to be adding in more Fable books and and lore books and things along those lines. There's a ton of books that were intended or planned and never got or so far haven't gotten created. So we'll see what we could do about getting more of that stuff in and fill up the bookshelves. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to go to back to the Lottie Mansion scene, the one I've been working on, and it is a basement in case anybody hasn't been paying attention to what I was doing before. Um, and this is asking me now if I want to save the scene that I'm on, and I do not want to save that scene. That's where I did all my temporary prefab work. So here, I'll make the screen a little bit bigger too so you can see stuff. Okay, so let me get my keypad over here. So I think we have a few new faces from the past, maybe. Um, maybe one or two. So basically, I've been working on this scene. This is a special scene for the Lord of the Isle, people who pledged for the Lord of the Isle. And this is going to actually be a basement. It's going to be a new endeavor that we're going to go in there and give them a little mini world. So we're calling that a pocket universe, and they'll be able to put that down in their basement hatch and go down here, and they'll have access to decorate this just like a basement. And at right now, the way the stuff's set up, this is a castle basement, so it's going to get the deco limits of a castle basement. But the plan is to create a new deed, a new size, quote unquote, that will be for the Lottie. So the deco limit, or I shouldn't say for the Lottie, but for the Pocket Universe. So the Pocket Universe will have a larger deco limit, based on the scene size, that type of thing. And my uh, in my conversations with Chris, what I'm hoping to do is make it so that way these deeds, the ones that are Pocket Universe's little mini scenes, will be able to be placed on any size lot. So that way it's you won't have to buy a scene that would be restricted to a row lot or a village or anything like that. So these should be able to be placeable on anything. Um, yeah. So we'll go for with that. And the Lord of the Isles, they get their mansion that they could place on the like in a POT or in a NPC city, but we're giving them an extra copy of it in here inside this scene as well. We couldn't make it so that way they could place any house they wanted, so you know, made sense to just use the Lord of the Isle mansion in here since we have to bake it in. They could decorate it still, but they can't remove it. So there's a bunch of stuff in here. The original scene is based on the fishing expedition. It's been de-decoed so that way there's a few items that I've left in the scene, not very much. The ship's anchor, this dry docked boat, as it were. And they still, well, the anchor, I think we decided we're going to leave for sure. The boat still may end up going, but we want to be able to allow the players to do anything they want to the scene. So don't really want to put too much on here. Definitely going to leave the shack though. And then I made of course, you got the ship, which is also here, and I'll stay. And I made a lighthouse island, so the lighthouse can be decorated, and the island itself is there. And there's also a deserted island. I'm trying to give the bridge tour because I've gone over this a few times. Just want to make sure everybody gets a good look. And the last piece, of course, is the mansion. And then underneath all this, I am putting in a little mini dungeon. And that's what I'm working on now. It's the basement to the basement. So basically, what I have is a little dungeon that will have four entrances and exits. Entrances slash exits. Um, this one's for the mansion. Thank you very much. And let's see. This one here is for the fishing expedition island. This one's for the deserted island, and this one over here, is for the lighthouse. Now, of course, they're not um, one-to-one, you know, ratio. This is definitely scaled down. If I did the dungeon for the entire scene, you could see. Oh, I flipped upside down. You could see how big the scene is compared to where the dungeon is. The dungeon would be absolutely huge. This scene is really, really big. So it's actually 8 times larger than than the fishing expedition scene, but that's a lot of water, so you can't really gauge that very well sometimes. But the fishing expedition scene is about the same size as some of the average adventure scenes in episode one. So this thing is like 8 times the size of one of our average scenes. So a pocket inside a pocket. Yeah, exactly. All right, so I have a lot of work to do yet on this. So what I've been doing is kind of doing virtual graph paper, and as you can see here, the hallways and rooms on the left are all solid and in place. So these are actually technically finished, these hallways and stuff. Uh, but as I move over to the right, I just started placing things down as if it was on graph paper, just with some little gap around them, so that way I could plot out my rooms, see where everything is going to be, and on this particular dungeon, I like to pre-design everything. I actually have a spool of graph paper that's meant for a plotter, but I I tend to do that. I make dungeons, and I'd rather do it ahead of time and start doing things so that way I could plot out traps and hidden areas and stuff like that. So there's definitely going to be some hidden stuff going on, secrets in the dungeon. There's secrets in the scene itself. A few interesting things that you could do and some points of interest to look at. Um, but the dungeon's got to be expanded a little bit from here. I got too much hallway, so I want to put more rooms in and fill it in a little bit. So right now I'm just basically dragging things around, duplicating some floor tiles. That's what I'm going to do today is start mapping out more rooms where they're going to be, the sizes and shapes of the rooms, that type of thing. And then there's some hallways. There's at least one hallway that I can't do alive because it's going to be a secret area. And of course, when the Lord of the Isles or anybody else gets into these scenes, I kind of want them to be able to explore, search, and discover some stuff and not have all the answers right up front. So, but I'll take you on a little tour of what we have built now. As I said, this is the exit entrance for the uh, deserted island, and you come down some stairs in the hallway, and then there's a little T here that goes down and down and down, and then you're in. This is actually this segment right here is actually the town lot size arena basement, the entire thing. So to give you an idea of scale, that's a town-sized basement right there. So this little mini dungeon is already bigger than a castle basement, uh, by its footprint. It's not going to be 5 stories or anything, but so. And then you have the hallway that goes down here, and then you have a couple of rooms in there, and some stairs that go up, and there'll be some more rooms over here. There may or may not be something over here that's a little bit special. Not a secret, but just something special for this. Or in my original plan, I had something else on that corner of the map, that section of the map. And I may or may not still be able to get that in there. I think I'm going to be able to do it on the overworld, but I don't know. Well, I'm going to say the overworld, but the main basement section, the water surface level, sea level, of putting something in there. And but I don't think that there'll be an exit or entrance for that in that corner. But there may be something that's related to what's on the surface down here. So we'll see how that goes. So and again, this is basically just duplication of the same stuff for the corners. So that way there's a way up and out to each one. And each location is going to have its own basement hatch. The basement hatch for the all the islands will be an iron grate, and then the the Lord of the Isle Mansion Island will have us the the sewer grate or manhole, the manhole grate, one that you could craft only because it has the same bricks as the manor. This was Alley-Oop's idea, and it fits perfectly. So I'm gonna stick that in there. Okay, so with all that said, I'm gonna start putting in some more rooms here. And all I need to do that is select the right thing. There's this other little tweaky thing about Unity. If I select one of these floors, notice they're all over the place in here as well. I could get really crazy and organize each room and put all the prefabs and stuff into their own folders, as it were, in this hierarchy, or even rename them if I wanted. But it'd get too crazy. So because generally once this is done, you're good. And if you're gonna go back and edit it when you select on it, it'll bring you here. So it's not that thing, except that it brings you to the subcomponent, right, where all the settings are, and that's because the likelihood is that you're just gonna be tweaking settings. Um, so what you need to do is you have to go back and click on the actual blue box, which is the prefab. That way I can move the whole thing. If I actually tried to move this, then it will break the game. It'll make things not act right. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this, and I just did that with a control key. And now I could drag it around and do what I want. So now let's see here. I think we are not at the right height. So again, I'm just doing these rough. I'm not going to worry about exactly where I am or anything like that. Just going to pull this over. So there will be a doorway. And yeah, the doorway is going to have to be here. To do the corner pieces correctly, I can't be, if I put a door here, then the corner pieces will interfere with that hall there. So this one here, again, gotta fix my thingy, will line up with this one. And I'm not going to be that exact or anything, but I want to mark it that I'm going to have that room there. So now I'll duplicate that one as well, and just go back, and then duplicate it again, and I could go back. This is a classic Dungeons and Dragons type of room. So these are like, 10-foot squares, right? So you got the doorway comes in, and then that way you have a little bit of a blind spot, and then you come in and you have a room that opens up. It's very classic Dungeons and Dragons. Now, let's see. I got to do a couple more rooms in each one of these sections here. So as long as still have that selected, I could just duplicate it and keep dragging floor pieces around. In fact, we'll make a few here. So we're going to have, and again, these rooms will probably change in their format as I go along. But I'm already have some ideas in my head for this one. I think I like what, you know, wrong arrow. I keep grabbing the wrong arrow. Now my height's not going to be right, I'm sure. Not that my height is correct for any of this. I'm going to have to tweak these things. If I'm, it looks like I am actually pretty close to it. That would be luck. But okay, so we got this one's going to be, it's going to come in and have a little bit of a hallway, and then it's going to turn and open up into a room. We can make this a little bit of a bigger. And I have height above that, so I could fill this in. There we go. Get rid of this. There we go. Cool. All right. Yeah. So I think that looks pretty good. I might do something a little bit extra here as well. Maybe we'll put in, a little secondary room. From this angle, it's going to be hard to see it, but okay. So there you go. Already added a lot of square footage. So now, just not to be confusing, this is its own separate square room. So there'll be walls in here. So I probably should actually just, see what I'm doing here. Should be moving this a little bit back. And there probably is an easier way of doing this, but let's move this back a little bit just to give a more of a separation. I won't even mess with those right now, but that way it's obvious. So basically this one will have a little bit of an extra entryway and then open up into a bigger room that'll also have either a door or an archway that'll bring you into another smaller room there. Then we got that room, and that eliminates those. I'm going to have to add something in here. And I still have to do something along this line. And then when I added this room, I decided to put a T hallway here, which means I now need to probably do something over here. This piece is actually just left over from that piece there, from what I was doing the other day. It's kind of like a palette. Just leave it out there until you're done. So this, okay, let's do something like this. Okay, and that's, why? Okay, so I'm going to put a room on this side here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a door on both sides. Get my alignment right, but let's do that. And like that, and then just widen it out and make it into a room. Hmm. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so over here, I think I want to do a split of a hallway. So replacing that piece, and I'm just going to put that piece in the void right now. So in case I need it, I can use it instead of just making another one. Lazy. All right, so now we get our T. We'll go down here. And I could rotate that a little bit. Now I got my branch. Now I can actually just take this one actually if I want and move it over here and then rotate it. And there you go. Now I could have a bit of a hallway and then I could have a room come off and come into this section instead. Let's get a piece of floor. So what do you guys think? Is this boring or is this interesting? I am curious because, this is just something I'm trying to do and see if it works. No, I gotta, even to do the doorway, I have to center this off on the hallway. Yeah, I think I could do this. Yeah, cool. Yeah, let me know if it's boring. I mean, if anything I'm doing is not interesting, I could always do other stuff. Like, if I went ahead and did all the books, I'm positive that that would not have been a good thing. That's cool. I like that. I like that you guys are interested. It's good. All right, so let's see here. I can make this room. Let me see how many big rooms I have. Yep, that's exactly it. It is definitely the sausage. All right, so we have one, two, three, nine, 3 by 3s or nines. So this one's got, I did a little corner chop out on that one to make it a little bit different. Then that one's that, and I think, yeah, this is going to be the same size because of that. Um, if I make a grand room, I mean, because we already have the arena in here, so this dungeon's doesn't need anything larger, I don't think. But I could do some. So there's some other stuff I do, but I won't do it on a stream. I'm gonna have to experiment with a few things. I want it to be a little bit more unique and interesting. As I said, there's some secrets I'm gonna add in. I know one that I want to put in that'll be kind of cool. So, all right, there, we'll leave that room like that. I think that's good. Yeah, this one, I'm not sure if I intended. I don't know if this was intended to be at this level. It probably was, and just never got there. So I'll have to lower those down. Yeah, we don't have a dungeon piece right now that would allow me to put a door here. So I'll have to make that. And I have a long list of rooms. I am going to make a bunch of stuff. I just need to get spun up. So I am working with List, and he and I are meeting on a weekly basis for the foreseeable future. Thank you very much, List. I'm really looking forward to getting all the info on this stuff, and I gotta start at the beginning, right, and go from there. First thing I want to tackle is the bugs, and on the player dungeons, and get those in there. And by doing those bugs, I will learn how to do various things. Um, so that'll definitely be cool and get us to where we want to be. So I could start making additions uh, to the different dungeon sets that we have. So that way we could have like doors that are on landings and different types of stairs and different types of things. Of course, this is the oldest dungeon set pieces, and I'm just using these because these are the ones I'm used to seeing. Um, uh, and these are the sewer pieces. So. Um, you know, as I move forward, I'll be using different stuff instead of using these. So that way I have more variation in the game. So let's see now. I think I'm going to go up a little bit to get a better look at my map before it all culls out, though. Um, okay, entrance. Yes, it is like a train set. You're right. With warp tracks. So, yeah, no, definitely. And once you once you know what you're doing, the dungeons are easily put together. So we have to figure, fix a little bit of the quirky things. But it's a good system. All right, so let me see. This one here we got going there. I could put, I have end cap pieces. I don't think I have them. Yeah, I used to have an end cap piece in here, but I got rid of it because I ended up putting stairs at the end of all of the hallways, stairs or rooms. So I'm gonna actually put end caps on these. I gotta remember what the name for that is, actually. Let's see here. Shin kit. Oh yeah, yeah. I actually grew up with N scale. I know a lot of people grew up with HO scale and so on. Not, I never knew anybody with O scale, but later on, after I grew up, I've met a few people who actually have O scale trains, and those are pretty damn big. But I am used to the N scale trains, and downstairs, my father he built a table when my brother and I were too young to really appreciate it. I was like 4 or 5 years old, and we went in there, and they'd have the tracks, the switch, right? The this whatever, I guess the switching tracks, whatever they call them, and then they'd have a little electromagnets, coils in them. We'd actually open up the cans and unwind the coils. So he put that down, but then when we got a little bit older, we actually went to him and asked him to make another train table. So we all worked, the three of us together on a train table, a 4x8, and from there he continued on and kept doing it, and had a table that went across the whole basement, and yeah, huge. He duplicated. Uh, we were in. Well, he moved to Blairstown, New Jersey with my mom after my brother and I moved out. So that's actually where was it um, Crystal Lake, Camp Crystal Lake. That whole thing was filmed up there. And I can't remember if that was, yeah, that was Friday 13th. Friday 13th was filmed in Blairstown, between Blairstown and actually Camp Crystal Lake, which actually is a real place, and is nearby in northern New Jersey. But they have a house up there, and he filled the entire basement with the train sets and duplicated the actual train lines that were in Warren County and Hunterdon County in New Jersey. And he's since moved to Maine, and he's now duplicating the train lines up in Maine. So there you go. Me, I have a few segments of train line, and uh, uh, some of the cars, the freight cars and stuff, in a caboose downstairs, just because to keep them around. So, good afternoon, welcome, thanks for the follow. Um, so, getting back on subject here. Yeah, hey, HT Genie UK, thanks for the follow. That's really great. Um, and Dungeon Kit Hall. And I'm looking for. an end cap. No, 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 no. I want to keep on. Engine kit. LT. Hmm. Oh, here I could play a joke on somebody. Um, is this the right one? Yeah, it is. Why is that not let me add it? See, it won't let me add in here. It's a pain in the neck. Hmm. It's a 200-meter fall. Well, right now, if you run through the dungeon, you'll just like walk down a hallway and then fall into the void. That's pretty much a 2 million meter fall. But yeah, it's funny. I could do something like that, right? I could have a 200-meter fall, and then you land in water, so that way you survive it. But I'm looking for. I don't know where it is. I think it had a weird name. Some of the stuff in here doesn't have the names that you would expect. Dungeon kit underscore hall. This is what I want. But it's got to be the port stuff. Port underscore dungeon kit hall. Let's see. Ah, there, end cap. That's what I'm looking for. Why is that? That's not working right. Oh, there. Let's get it in there. Let's get it in. And now I could turn it around. Slide it into place. Now, this one I'll mess around with a little bit, make sure that, actually, I might have pegged that. Look at that. No, no, it's a little high. Now, I am not a good enough person. Some people will say, "Oh, well, that's good enough," or whatever. I am not one of those. So I look at that, it's like 4 pixels too low. And of course, I'm, not really doing this right now, but just as an example to see what's involved. I look at these things and say, okay, is that right? Is that exactly where I want it to be? And I will keep working on this thing until it exactly matches what I expect it to look like. So there you go. That's an end cap. That's how that'll work. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate that and just for the heck of it, because none of this is going to really, I'm going to have to go in here and move all this stuff around. But my height, in theory, my height would be the same here if this was all actually properly connected, but it's not. So, but I do need to, wrong, wrong twist. There we go. That's the right twist. And then in theory, I just need to go to the right depth. And I could even do this. I don't have to do it at the end, because this will line up wherever I put it, it'll look like it should. So I could do something just like that as well. So that's the type of thing I have to do with every single one of these pieces. Now, there is a grid system, and I could take a floor piece, like for instance here. Let me select it, get on the right part, so I'm moving the whole graphic, and I hold down the control key, and I could actually make it go jump on a grid. So, like, you know, in theory, that's going to be right lined up next to each other. But you see that? That's called Z fighting, right? Along these lines, as I move my camera, I am sure you've seen this in game, and that's because the graphics were just not lined up correctly. And they're fighting with each other for who's going to display their texture. So all this really needs right now is for this one, if I could get it to select the right. Oh, it is selected. How about that? Now I get this one, I'd have to move it, and I can't use the grid because it's not on grid. That's the point of this, right? So same like thing like the other that I was doing. I have to get in here and move it until it lines up and there's no Z fighting. And I'll go select something else. So that way we can see there's still a little line there. So I have to move it a little bit more closer. And you can see once it's there, the texture will match up and it'll just look like a continuous stone floor. So this is one of the things I gotta work with List on and see what I did wrong because in this dungeon specifically, I expected everything to line up on my grid, but I kept on getting these micro lines, micro fractures, as it were, in my hallway. So I would end up going down and tweaking every single one. So now this entire dungeon is not on grid at all. So I'm positive I could fix it because I think I could highlight. Well, I know I could highlight everything, right? So I could do this and highlight all the pieces, and then I can move everything all at once. So I just need to figure out how to get it back onto the proper grid spots, and then any expansion work I do would be right on the grid. And that's one of the reasons why I'm also just placing things out in this haphazard way. So that way I just have a placement of what my map is going to look like. Uh, and hopefully when I start working with lists, that'll be on Friday, then I'll be able to fix this one and get everything on grid. And then it'll it'll probably take me about 2 hours to finish the entire dungeon then. That's about it. So there you go. Um, so let's see here. I think that I am pretty much where I want to be for what I could show on stream. Uh, there's one or two other rooms I could put in that would be visible rooms, that aren't secrets. But then there's secret stuff. So I'm gonna wait and get the secret stuff in, so that way I don't cause any conflicts with any rooms that I put in, any prepared floor space. We'll go from there. So that's about everything I'm going to share today. If anybody has any questions or anything, I can take a few minutes of questions and then I'm going to call it quits. I really need to rest. I'm getting punch drunk now. So, does anybody have any questions on the stuff that we did today? See, I put everybody to sleep. Well, let me go back up to the get back up upside down, but and which dungeon is yours? Your player dungeon? Yeah, I figured. But I still have a little bit of work to do up here too. Um, the uh, the one beach that I worked on last week, I think it was last week, that came out good, and it looks like it's going to meet with approval. I still need to. I have a thing for cattails. I grew up in the Northeast, so cattails were definitely a thing, and um, I'm going to swap the cattails out in this scene with uh, what is it? Not sugar cane. Yeah, tired, very tired, but the sticks. Yeah, I'm gonna swap it out for that stuff. So same thing in the marsh. Gonna end up pulling out the cattails here and make it more of a reeds and um, that type of a swampy area. So this just culls when you go too far away, so you can't really see it too much. But and then I think the biggest amount of work that still needs to be done in this scene is this island. Um, these trees need to be replaced with better trees, and I want to thicken this up. So I want to make it so that way if you're standing here on this island, I don't want you to be able to see out there. I want you to be in the island and feel isolated, and I want you to be, if you're out on any of the other islands and you look back at that thing, I want it to look like it's a completely forested island. Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, and sorry, I just realized, yeah, you did join, and HT Genie, and I will be streaming again. I'll actually be streaming at least two more times this week. I'm working on getting affiliate. I've made my numbers for followers and a bunch of the other stuff that I need to do. But I need to put in, I think about three more two more days. Yeah, today and then two more days, like let's say Thursday and Friday or Saturday, that type of thing. So, and I definitely will be streaming at least one day on each weekend, for the most part, we'll say. I don't have a definitive schedule at this point, but down the road I'll get one. So, yeah, cool. So we will see what we get. All right, guys, then with all that said, I am going to get going because I'm going to try to take a nap. I have more work to do, so I can't really take a full night's sleep, but I will try my best to stay awake and stay sane at the same time. But thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I hope that it was entertaining and you guys saw some stuff that help you understand how the game is made. So have a nice day, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow well, I'll definitely see you on Friday stream. I'll be on the Friday stream 3:30 to 5 on the official channel. Thanks. Appreciate. Yeah, it's kind of weird waking up in a dark room, but so thanks a lot, guys. Have a nice day. Talk to you later. Oh, actually, I should raid somebody, shouldn't I? Let's see. Yeah, still doing this type of stuff, figuring things out. So let me get back to my hmm, gotta figure that out. Once I get into this mode, I gotta figure out how to get out of this mode. What a pain in the neck. I think I could do this. No. Hmm. Okay, having problems. Probably due to me not being. Oh, I could do this. Ah, I found a way to get out. Yay. All right. Now I could do this and see who's streaming. And Serpentine. I think maybe not. Let's see who is. Oh, yeah, okay. I found somebody who's actually active in game and everything. So we're gonna go ahead and raid Coswald, and I need to get back to my main thingy. This one? No. Yep, loads of fun. See if that works. Oh, apparently I spelled his name right. Okay, good. All right, so then we're gonna be getting ready to raid. So here we go. Thanks again once for dealing with me being half awake and not quite fully ready to be solo. Justin has been helping me out a ton, and she streams with me so far at least once a week, and I hope she continues to do that because it's really a lot of fun to have her on with me, and she helps firewall me from missing people following and talking to me on the stream and all that stuff in the chat room. So, okay, guys, I am going to go ahead and hit the raid button, and I'll see you, uh, you know, tomorrow or Friday. Bye.